Ever had an Airbnb experience where at the end of it you're just like, I wish I had just stayed in a freaking hotel? That's where I'm at right now. And listen, maybe I just spent too much time in France and I'm complaining. Mais je vais râler. So I'd love to hear your guys' like worst nightmare stories about Airbnb. It's really great on paper, this whole Airbnb thing, but man, when it goes wrong, it goes really, really wrong. In this situation, I rented a studio place from a person who seemed very nice at first. I mentioned that I was moving back from France and I just needed some temporary accommodations to until my house became available, my own house that I'm renting out gets vacated and we move in, so just about a month or so. At first, this person seemed really cool and chill and nice, but I noticed that one of the things she wanted to do was she was like, I'd like to come and clean once a week in your place. And I'm just like, it's a tiny little, it's like 300 square feet. I'm like, it's a tiny little place. I'm like, I take good care. I keep a nice house. I don't need that, but thank you. I really appreciate that. And instead of being like relieved by that, like you don't need to, like she doesn't need to take care of that, she seemed like really disappointed. And I thought that was like kind of weird. And then as like conversations went on and I started realizing that she's like a nosy person. And she takes great pride in her place, but it's like beyond that, it's like, let's just use the word obsessive about it. And I started getting these messages on Airbnb about, you know, are you sure, is everything okay with the house? And she got it to the point where, because I have a service animal who you guys have met, and she wasn't used to that. She didn't know the rules around that on Airbnb. I had to educate her on several things that she did very wrong. But I showed her grace. I was like, okay, I see you're new. She's new. She's a new host. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut her some slack. But then she started like having what I can only describe as paranoid delusions that somehow my service animal was like destroying her beautiful little cottage, or I'm just really unfounded and ungrounded shit. And I just started getting these messages. And so to my face, it was super nice. But then like 5 minutes after, like I'd reassure her and ask, and I answered all her questions and whatever. I'm an open book, and I'm thinking, okay, we're doing well. I even gave her some like French chocolate that I had. I offered her some chocolate. I was like a peace offering because the whole service thing was weird in the beginning because she didn't know what she was doing, and it was like awkward, and mostly because of the way she handled it, but whatever. I just was like, hey, let's just, I'm going to be here for like 5-6 weeks. Let's just get along. And so I tried to make a peace offering. And again, everything seems fine. And then she goes on to Airbnb and she sends these notes about just worry and anxiety. Like, I would say I've experienced neurotic people before in my life. This is definitely neuroses type stuff, where you just can't, it's like your mind won't stop and it's just you're obsessing and you can just feel it. So I'd be like getting these messages at all different times of the day and shit. And I was just like, I finally got to the point where it was a complete disconnect between like what she would say in person and like also I want to be left the F alone. Like I don't want all this like interaction. She lives right next door and I just don't want this. I just want to be left the F alone. That's not happening with her. So finally I had to contact Airbnb after like the third or fourth message like this. In this case, she was demanding to come and look into the home with no provocation, like no emergency, no services, just she wants to come and look and make sure everything's okay. Not because there's any reason for that. Everything's fine. It's just because she cannot, her mind will not stop. And I'm like, wow, this person is like not going to stop. So I contacted Airbnb and I told them what was going on, and they were sympathetic and they said, you're not alone. I don't know what that means. Like, have other people reported this person? But anyway, got her back off. She in exchange for backing the F off, literally, she requested that I send photos. She couldn't demand it, but send photos. This is, by the way, after like a week of being here. She requested photos of the entire interior. I mean, every room, every surface, everything. And at first I was just like, I don't need to do this, but I did it just so like this woman can see that everything's fine. And I'm just like, holy shit, I cannot believe that this woman is treating me like an 18-year-old with no provocation, no grounding. So I don't even take it personally. At this point, I realize this person has a mental issue. But anyway, what's been your worst Airbnb experience? I was contemplating demanding a refund and getting out of here, but I really don't want to deal with that right now. As long as she backs off, which hopefully she will now that she got her photo shoot. Anyway, be very careful who you rent from, especially with new Airbnb hosts. Be very, very careful because it really is a crapshoot. And this person actually has 2 reviews. And one of the ones that it was said, wow, she was really attentive, like really super attentive. And I'm like, I was thinking, oh, okay, like that, oh, that sounds good. But then you realize what really attentive means is up your business all the time. Anyway, I'd love to hear what your worst experiences have been.